All right, Honda Express NC50 engine rebuild part 3. So earlier today, well, maybe I should back up even further than that. Yesterday, I decided, after doing all sorts of things to try to clean these, I decided, man, I'm just taking it to the car wash. So I took my two case halves to the car wash and with light pressure washed them off. Didn't get off everything, but I think we're 95% of the way there. So they're pretty darn clean. And then what you didn't see on the other videos were, or at least all of it, whoops, sorry, was I removed the old crusty, rusty bearings, which was the source of the rust stains on the inside of the case halves. Those things they're done, they're shot, they're finished, man. And as a matter of fact, I would well, let's put it this way. If you have a strong suspicion that your Honda Express sat out in the weather for years before you bought it, then you definitely want to pull those out and replace them. Basically, to get this bearing in here, I have a toaster oven, and this fits in it just barely, an old toaster oven. Go to like the VOA or the Goodwill store or something and pick up a used toaster oven. And I heated this up at like 350 for 20 minutes, which was probably overkill. And then I'd taken the bearing and stuck it in the freezer overnight. And then I took this out of the oven, put a little lubricant on the ends of the bearing, and the bearing just dropped right in. It was like magic, you know. Now I'm going to tonight. I can't really fit this other case half in the toaster oven, so I think I'm just going to take a torch and heat this for 10 or 15 minutes. And I've got my bearing, which was in the freezer, and hopefully I can just drop it right in. No problem. It'd be nice. I could stick it on my grill. That's an idea. I've got a gas grill. I could fire that up and put this in probably 300 for 20 minutes. Do I have any? Well, I think I'll just heat it up with a torch. We don't need to go. Hopefully, we don't need to go that route. Well, that's an interesting conundrum here. How to proceed? I'm thinking that the grill might be the way to go. Well, let me think about that. We'll be right back. See if we can get this on film. So we're going to heat it up here for a little bit more. I haven't been going really that long, maybe less than 5 minutes, but I can tell it's starting to get hot. I decided against the gas grill. I'm holding on to it up above, and I can start to feel the heat. So I would say we'll do it for a couple more minutes. I'll speed this up, don't worry. I don't want to bore you to death. Got water bubbling out of those bolt holes. All right, that must be pretty hot. You gotta move quick. It'd be nice to have a second set of hands here. Got water bubbling out of all of it. Let's try it and see. So I got my yeah, it wasn't good enough. I'm gonna shit. All right, sometimes that happens. Maybe I need to bake this in the oven. We're gonna have to try again. I have to get it out and try again. All right, I cheated. I used the press it the rest of the way in, and actually, it didn't really take much. It was just a little persuasion, and oh yeah, that's nice. Thank God for that press, man. That thing, I don't know what it was. It was like $130. It has paid for itself like probably 6 or 7 times over, man. So now I got to clean up the crank. And put this in the freezer overnight after I clean it up, and then I can heat up the small half in the toaster oven, heat up the inner race of the bearing, and then hopefully slide the crank in as long as you can get, and I've got a gasket for the case, I was wrong, for the 2 halves. As long as I can get the crank almost all the way, then you can use the, I'm going to use Allen head bolts to tighten it, the 1/4 inch or whatever, the remains. But anyhow, yeah, that is nice. It's a bit of work, but man, these things, darn it, sorry, I keep kicking you. One of these was, yeah, this one's, can't hear it, but it is super crusty. And then, let's see. Yeah, this one's probably the worst of the 2. So, yeah, I mean, I said if you suspected your Honda Express had been left out in the weather, I mean, frankly, given the age of these things, I mean, what are we talking about? Almost, 40 years, right? 39 years, 40 years, depending. Maybe even a little older. Probably a good idea to do this. I know it's a bit of work, but worth it, I think. Yeah, this one's starting to heat up from being inside the case. But so I need to sand off the old gasket material that's still on here, and then I'll clean up the crank, and we'll try to get that in tomorrow, and then that hard part's over with. So there you have it. See you soon.